it could be done the next event. So maybe the committee could meet 10-15 days before, so it would become for committee members maybe twice meeting in a month. But that would be idea to how to plan out for next quarter, probably next quarter, what kind of activities. And in this all, what I would must ensure we have our Mumbai chapter members, committee members and office bearers here. There would be a presentation by them. They would explain the whole logic about that, how it has gone. And they would also bring in their own knowledge and experience in terms of managing this kind of a forum. So that will also be very, very useful. So that is what we are looking for. So overall, let me say again that it is our forum, it is our initiative, and this is all for going forward and excelling in our own work, in our own organization. So that's how it is. Thank you very much and welcome again.
Thank you, Mr. Khopkar. The next session is from our sponsors, Raritran. The topic is power management in data center. I invite Mr. Motwani to deliver this presentation. Mr. Motwani is Regional Manager, India and Middle East for Raritran. To know more about power management, let's invite Mr. Motwani.
Good evening. Am I audible? Thank you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the CioKlub for opening this new chapter in Pune. So congratulations, and I hope you managed to achieve your objectives which you've set out. Second, I would like to thank all of you and the sponsors and the CioKlub for allowing us to be present over here. Third, what's happened this evening is a true demonstration of the security aspects which all of us CIOs believe in. If you look around, everybody is wearing this turban. So it's like a security pass ID gateway. Nobody is allowed to enter a data center without their respective security badges. So I'm pleased to see that the security concept is still being followed here at this level. Before I take on bore you with this presentation, the grapevine over here very diplomatically and politely did mention to me that I have to be very short, very brief, and very not technical, because there are some other objectives, agendas which all of you want to participate in, so I will not bore you with all that. But before that, I want to share this US study. Why it's a US study? Because all these kind of studies happen in US and nowhere else. Therefore, it's a US study. This talks about the attendee behavior in seminars and forums like this, and typical span is about 40 minutes to about 1 hour. It shows that with the first 10 minutes, 90% of you are listening to people like me for whatever reasons. After 15 minutes, you start looking around as to who's doing what. You start fiddling with your phones and seeing, why is somebody here standing, not standing, and start getting fidgety. After 20 minutes, typically everybody starts fantasizing about whatever they want to do, wherever they want to be, and maybe and some of you even start worrying about some problems here and there. But largely, the US study even goes on to detail as to what those fantasies are about. But considering the forum here, I can't go deep into those, but it does. So my request, since this is a 40-minute slot which I have, is that give me my first 20 minutes and I'll give you your last 20 minutes. What's happening around us? Our data centers are getting crowded. That's nothing new. The business demands are increasing. The realty prices are increasing. We have to manage within the spaces and the constraints which have been given to us. So our data centers, racks, etc., we are looking at more and more creative ways of trying to house and package it more and more. The equipment which we are deploying is getting powerful day by day. The heat they generate is becoming enormous. The per rack heat emission or power consumption for that matter has gone up from 2 to 3 kVA to about 10 kVA. Now we are looking at about 20 to 30 kVA from the estimates which are given to us, depending upon the kind of devices which are being deployed. And the trend is increasing in terms of the power consumption and the heat dissipation which is happening within our data centers at an equipment level. Therefore, what is happening with respect to our costs? Well, the blue bar indicates a cost of acquisition of the servers, which has over the years remained constant and it's remained constant thanks to people like you who negotiate very well and hammer the principles down in terms of buying cheaper every year. But if you look at the red line, red bar, that's the volume of servers which are being procured year on year. The volume of servers are increasing. And the black line indicates, the black line indicates over there is the cumulative servers increasing year on year. And the red bar indicates the cost of managing these servers year on year, and especially with respect to the power side. So as the business is growing, as your data centers are getting more and more crowded, the cost of management is increasing exponentially. And within the overall cost, one substantial factor which is increasing exponentially is your power costs. IT has become the de facto enabler of business. No business decides to expand anywhere, whether it's geographically or a new application or a new area, without IT concurring. Therefore, IT is de facto the enabler of business. And therefore, the pressure on the IT and the CIO is obviously increasing in terms of managing people, managing locations, managing the infrastructure. Obviously, we cannot have people at all the places. Therefore, lack of skilled resources are not available to us at all the locations. That's another challenge. The top five priorities for the CIO, therefore, get summarized into these. And thankfully, I lifted this off your website. This is your own homepage, CioKlub. That's the benefit of technology today. Process and performance improvement is happening. Information security, business continuity, implementing processes, CRMs, business intelligence, and cost reduction. Surprisingly, if you look at the respondents, the highest are on security and on business continuity. Costs takes a little backseat for some reason, but one-on-one, when you start interacting with each one of you, cost seems to predominantly take a larger share of the discussion. But somehow over here, it's not figuring. But bottom line is that these are the 5 areas which all of you are fighting or battling against in some way or the other within your respective organizations. Sure, please. Okay, so let's say last year was an exceptional year because there were other factors controlling us, so everybody did look at a cost as a focus, and this year now you're spending. Good. Sales targets increase. So what's happening closer within our data centers, especially with respect to power? I mean, these slides I'm sure you've seen in various presentations from various other people. Energy usage in a data center. Let's deep dive into how the energy pattern consumption is happening. For the past 3 to 4 years, most organizations have been talking about management of power within a data center, and a substantial amount of money, focus, attention, technology has been spent towards air conditioning. And rightfully so. It does consume a decent amount of cost. But the other aspect, post-air conditioning and the cooling, are the cost of running your IT equipment. For some reason, that has never been highlighted. It's never been discussed. It never seems to hit upon us. We take it for granted because the business continuity is a given. So if you're looking at servers in our data centers, in our organizations, they have to run irrespective of the power they consume, irrespective of the cost of power to run these servers and the IT infrastructure. But they do account for about 45 to 46% of the total power consumed in a data center, which is very, very high. Why does that happen? The genesis of designing a data center and doing capacity planning is the nameplate rating within which is there on your equipment. And whenever you design a data center, you take the nameplate rating from the vendors, multiply it by the number of devices which you're going to procure, buffer it up for expansion, and then get your total power load for your site. You deploy UPS based on that capacity. You have a backup UPS also for a similar capacity. Your genset capacity is also based on that. And your air conditioning is also based on that. So the genesis fundamentally for designing a data center always boils down to the nameplate rating of the equipment which you plan to use. How does this impact us? This impacts us realistically in this manner. When you do a detailed analysis of power